Hello, my name is Stephen King, and today I will be talking about the topic of why missionaries converted or they wanted to convert the political and the social elite. Christianity. Now, when Christianity first hit it off, everyone didn't really know about it, so it was best to get the name and the knowledge out around the time that Christianity was becoming an up and coming new religion compared to the old ones. Books started to become more and more in use. They weren't really invented at the time, but they eventually began to be used instead of scrolls, which would make it easier to spread the word of Christianity amongst far and wide nations. In Christianity's early stages, the church sought to expand the knowledge of this new religion and increase the number of its followers. Now, who was in charge of that was left up to the Christian church. And eventually the Christian church began to appoint people because it became so massive that it needed some structure within itself. And so the people that oversaw the ceremonies and the processions and upheld the church's integrity were appointed as priests and bishops who ultimately ran the church and oversaw everything that was going on and said, basically picked who or what made it authentic. Now, from the time of its beginning, it was it's no real clear point in time where Christianity fully emerged, but from the beginning, the church itself always wanted to spread the word, and so they always found that to be the most important aspect of the religion itself, along with following the moral orders and laws within itself. Now, where they did this, eventually, obviously, they would go to church or go to a ceremony that was upheld at a church, while slowly over time, the Christian church slowly began to have the pagan churches destroyed. But they began to see that there were people that felt that they could better serve the Christian God as devout as long as they were away from the day-to-day world that most, we call them civilians, would interact with. So they began to build dwellings completely dedicated and to help separate the devout from the rest of the world. And these were the monasteries, which became the training grounds for future priests, bishops, and missionaries that would ultimately help, their cause and spread their influence among the world. Now, how and why they did this, the missionaries were said to have traveled far beyond the boundaries of the Roman Empire, whose sole mission, their job, was to convert the barbarians they were already dealing with, who still were a part of the pagan gods, worshiping followers, and also convert anyone who was willing to, at the time, or found it necessary to be a part of the Christian church. And why they did this, and it seems to be the most obvious, is because of all the conversions that they wanted to spread and how up and coming Christianity became. Converting the social and political elite became very important, because while you may have a bureaucrat or an aristocrat, in charge of making laws and setting reforms, these people ultimately would be the ones who decided how it would go about. And the church felt that their influence was very important. So in order to help them spread their world and have it ingrained into society, the Christian church sought to convert the people of higher power first in order to accomplish their goals. Now, ultimately, even though it's not really written down here, the church itself ended up making laws and orders that were solely moral, based on, the spiritual laws that would be considered against God in that particular time, and they would deal with those issues, while the government itself would deal with other laws, and they would also, implement their own judicial system. So, thank you for listening.